Andrei Mincov, welcome to Listening with Leaders. You are the CEO and founder of Trademark Factory, found at trademarkfactory.com. Thank you so much for joining us today.
That I did. Thank you for having me.
And you are, this is the amazing part of Zoom is you're in Dubai and I'm in California, and we look like we're right next to each other. It's crazy.
The marvel of technology.
So I want to hear your story, but part of your story is that you were trained as a lawyer in Russia and emigrated to Canada, and you became a trademark and intellectual property lawyer in Canada, and you finally got disgusted with it all because you couldn't practice trademark law the way you wanted to, and you sort of switched. Tell us what happened.
Well, it's, as you say, it's a quite long story. So I got into intellectual property law because of my dad, who was a famous composer in Russia. And one day when I was still trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, he heard one of his songs on the radio being used without his permission as an ad for Samsung. And I was attending a law school in Russia back in the day, but really didn't see myself as a lawyer, didn't want to be a lawyer. So he came up to me and asked me if I could help him take this to court. And in Russia, you don't need a license to help people go to court unless it's a criminal case, right? So you can do civil with no license. And I said, sure, let's do it. And so 2 years later, sort of taking this case all the way up to the second highest court in the nation, we won. And I got really passionate about helping people protect their IP. And so, this snowballed into quite a career in Russia when I ended up working with the biggest law firm in the world, biggest international law firm in the world, Baker McKenzie, helping all sorts of clients like Apple, Microsoft, Google with their IP. And then I had enough of Russia, and I think it was 2007. I said to myself, there's more to life than this, and moved to Canada, expecting it. And just to give you a little bit of context, when you live in Russia, you expect the rest of the world to be normal, right? You refer to the rest of the world as like normal people, normal countries. And so assume that when I was moving to Canada, that's what I would see. And it took a while to see that some of my initial perceptions and ideas about how it would look like were slightly different from reality. So anyway, I had to go back to law school for the full 3 years in Canada, did my second law school, didn't get a single offer to work for a law firm there. Felt a little bit like, you remember Rambo 1.
Right.
So yeah, I got Sylvester in the back. So I know quite a few references. In Rambo 1, at the end of it, when he's in the store and he says, back in Vietnam, they trusted me with $1 million equipment. Here, I can't find a job parking cars, right? I was doing some massive deals in Russia, helping massive clients internationally, and in Canada, nobody wanted to give me an interview for a first year law position. And I'm like, okay, what do I do now? So I discovered the wonderful world of entrepreneurship with Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And the decision was, well, if I can't go on my own as a lawyer, probably not that good of a lawyer anyway. So started my firm, very quickly realized that, hey, you actually need one thing to be a successful law firm, which I didn't think of before, which was clients. Like without clients, it's kind of hard to build a successful law firm. Didn't think of that. And the more I was focusing on how to build this as a business, how to build this as a marketing machine, as a sales machine, as a content machine that generates interest in what we do, the more I was enjoying that. And the more I was seeing law as a commodity that pretty much anyone can do as long as we have a say of how they're doing it. And so this is how I came up with the idea of Trademark Factory, where we help entrepreneurs from around the world trademark their brands the way nobody else does, which is one flat fee with a 100% money back guarantee, right? And one fee covers everything from start to finish, no matter what happens in the middle. So if there's a problem, it's our problem, not the client's problem. And the 100% money back guarantee, you as a lawyer would will appreciate that nobody does this.
Right.
And that's initially that all started as a marketing gimmick. And very quickly I realized that there is a lot more to that than that. That was, the model that kept us going for more than 10 years now. So in 2015, I started seeing that the Canadian Law Society was coming up with all sorts of bureaucracy. Can I say bullshit on this podcast? Is that okay?
You can say bullshit.
All right. So they were, trying to put all that around me, and I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, I'm not even lawyering all that. All we're doing is we're filing trademarks. Why am I holding on to this license other than all the pain that I had to go through to get it?
So the Canadian Law Society was coming after you personally because of the stuff you were doing?
Yeah, they were like, checking, the trust accounting rules, the this and that, and, the advertising rules. And I'm like, you know what? I don't need this nonsense. I really don't. And our clients don't. It's not that they're protecting the public. And after about a week of contemplation, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to give up the license and continue it as a business owner. It was probably one of the best decisions I've made, because that allowed me the freedom to do the things, to build the business the way our clients want it done, and by extension the way I want it done. And that's why I can be here in Dubai and the company is still running regardless of where I am. So that was probably one of the scariest things I've done in my life, in terms of making a move, and one of the most rewarding.
Really interesting. So specifically, people come to you and they need something trademarked. All you do is work with trademarks. You don't work with patents.
We own nothing else, just trademarks.
So you're a one-stop shop for a trademark. So if somebody invents something or they want some kind of trademark, I know there are different kinds of trademarks. They come to you, they pay you whatever the fee is, and you take care of it. And they never get another bill from you again.
Yep.
And how's that business model working out?
It's been working out fairly well. So we're a team of 30 now. We keep growing, we keep expanding, we keep adding value to our clients' lives, I believe. We've gotten like 5 stars reviews on Google consistently. We've got like, dozens and dozens and dozens of those 5-star testimonials. So apparently we're doing something right.
There you go.
And yeah.
So you're obviously really excited about what you do, and you're also very proud of what you do. What is it that gets you so excited about the work that you do?
To me, I guess it's the same general idea as when I decided to help my dad, because I feel that people who have created something that hadn't existed before deserve to not have it stolen from them. And they deserve to not be ripped off in the process either, as well. Mm-hmm. And I've been seeing a lot of that, both as part of the big structure, the big law firm. Not saying that they were ripping clients off, they weren't, because that was just the arrangement. But hourly fees and trademarks, in my mind, don't need to be in the same room, because trademarking for clients is binary. Right? You either get it or you don't. You don't really care how long it took me to get you there. Right. Like, to me, it's a service like no other. Like you go to a dentist, you want your teeth fixed, right? You don't care how long it takes them. You find out how much it's going to be. You sit there, you open your mouth, and you wait, and you go home with your teeth done. It's really no different from trademarking, because there's a very specific result that is being expected of you. And if we're like, hey, we're going to file your trademark, and then you're going to pay us by the hour to fix all the mess that we'll have created on your behalf, that's just not right. Right. That's one thing. And the other part of that is, I feel that there's so much misinformation out there about trademarking, There's all those gurus telling you, yeah, this can wait. Doesn't really matter. Just, build your business and somehow it will build itself. That doesn't work that way. If you look at all the really successful companies, you won't find a single one that hasn't trademarked its brand, because the brand is the most valuable asset.
Right.
And it's often too late, but never too early to get it done. Right. And most of them, well, I shouldn't say most of them, a lot of them have filed their trademark before they even launched. Most of them, the vast majority of them filed their trademark before they got well known, because by the time you get well known, someone will have already trademarked your brand and might as well be you.
Yeah. So are you trademarking across the world?
Yeah, so mostly US and Canada, that's kind of our primary markets, but we can do it really anywhere, because so obviously I cannot be a lawyer in every single country. I'm not pretending to be one. What we do is we act as an interface between the client and the actual attorney who's doing the work on behalf of the client in front of the trademarks office, right? So we do all the initial assessments, we do the communication, so the client never has to worry about being on the clock, in 6-minute increments. So we do all of that. Then we pass it on to lawyers, trademark agents, whoever is doing that, depending on the jurisdiction. And if they see something that they think has been done incorrectly, which almost never happens, they tell us, we go back to the client, we fix that, right? But the way I see Trademark Factory today is very different from how I saw it when I started it 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I was like, we are going to become the best law firm that does trademarks. Right now, I don't even really look at us as a legal service primarily. I see us as a customer service company and insurance company, right? Because we take away all the risks that you would have if you were to deal with the same lawyers we're using, right? And we give you the ability to talk to humans, when you need to talk to humans who understand your case, who care about the results, and who actually give a damn about you and your brand. So that's really the biggest added value to what we do.
So you guys engage the lawyers to do the work on behalf of the client? Is that how it works?
Yeah.
And part of your fee is what's included in that is what you're going to pay them.
Yeah.
So the client doesn't have to mess with the lawyer at all. They just mess with you guys. You deal with the lawyers and you handle it all.
Exactly.
And I figure the reason that it's so profitable is because you've done so many of these. You know exactly what it's going to take every single time.
We lose money on some.
Right.
We make decent money on some others. We had clients where it took 7 freaking years of back and forth with the trademarks office. 7 years with multiple office actions, with coexistence agreement being drafted, negotiated, all of that. And that all was covered by the one fee that they paid us 7 years ago.
Wow.
And I had a few, like I had to do a video testimonial from one of them. And it was like, you were the worst client from the profitability perspective, but the best one as a case study, because stuff like this happens and you just don't know whether it's going to be you or someone else. Like we had a client where we had to do a coexistence agreement with one of the biggest, if not the biggest, sports shoe companies. Let's put it that way.
Okay. We can guess.
I think you can figure out who they are. And we successfully negotiated on behalf of the client and got him the trademark that he wanted.
Wow.
Right. And to me, that's about, how do we get the results? And one of the things I'm really proud of, one of the cases I'm really proud of.
So what is it that makes you unique about all this? Why? Yeah, you're a unique guy. What is it that makes you so unique?
DNA. but in all seriousness, I guess it's just that I give a damn.
Okay.
because
You care.
everything else, everything else, I guess, is easy to copy. And this isn't. And this is probably one of the things that I hear from new team members all the time. So, somebody joins the team and they're like, it's amazing to see the culture inside. And they say that it all comes from this one thing, that, we actually give a damn about the clients who come in. Sometimes we get pissed off at them when they, say things that we don't think they should be saying, but we still love them and we still care and we still, try to give them what they came here for.
Wow. Well, let's pivot to listening, because this is a show about listening, leadership listening. Tell me about the importance of listening in your business.
It's funny because I actually had to actively teach myself listening.
Tell me about that.
And I went to do acting classes for that.
Huh.
And I discovered something really, really interesting about the connection between the two. Because when you do acting, when there's a dialogue, you're not supposed to look like what the other person is going to say, right? You're supposed to react off of what they just told you. And the audience can't, they can't think that exactly what they're going to say, and then what you're going to say, and then what they're going to, right? So it should be unfolding
Right.
as if it's unfolding for the very first time. And I found that doing the acting classes helped me a lot in actually spending the time to listen rather than use that time to think what I'm going to say, which a lot of people do, but I certainly used to do a lot. But also not just preparing my own response, but to actually listen, because if I think that I know what you're going to say, I can't react, right? It's just like boring. Yeah, keep talking, and nobody likes that kind of conversation. So doing those acting classes, I think, was one of the things that made me a better listener. And funny enough, I've done a huge amount of all sorts of, personal development, business development events. And often they would, break you down in pairs and just get people to say, what they notice about you, the good and the bad and the ugly. And I was noticing that people would tell me that they found me to be a good listener. And initially to me it was like, you're kidding, right? Because I used to think that I was very far from being a good listener, but apparently it helped. So that's kind of my story about listening. But the other thing I wanted to say, which kind of ties it into trademarking, it's not just important to listen. It's also very important to know who you're listening to. Because a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs, they listen to the wrong people. They listen to people they should not be listening to when they are, trying to find someone to help them, right? It's not much use for somebody who wants to lose weight to listen to, what overweight body positivity people are going to tell them, right? They may be great people, but they're not the people to listen to in this particular case. So with trademarking, there's, as I mentioned earlier, right? There's a lot of people who will tell you, you don't need that kind of stuff, right? Just focus on building the product, focus on, getting your paperwork in order, but you want to listen to people who actually built good brands and what they've done to make sure that they own them, right? And it's not just about trademarking, it's really about everything, right? If you want to listen, but you want to listen critically, and you can't if all you're doing is trying to come up with a response and trying to look smart and look and look better than you really are.
That's
So
right.
when
When
I
your ego-
when I
going to say, when your ego gets in the way, you're no longer listening.
exactly what I was gonna say.
Right.
Yeah.
And the key is to learn how. I teach people how to listen in a very unique way, and I teach them how to be egoless, so that when you're truly listening to somebody, you have an authentic presence with them that they can palpably feel, and that's when the deep listening occurs. So is listening important in your business? You said you had 30 people in your organization.
Yep.
So how important is listening to them?
Extremely important.
Kind of.
We're all about, I mean, we can't give the client what they need if we don't listen. Clients are smart people, especially today. And I think that's one of the reasons, the business grows, because when somebody books a call with one of our advisors, right? Some of them expect a sales call. Some of them expect free consultation, which it is neither really. What we do is we try to figure out what their situation is and why they need it, why they want it, and their role is to come up with a best strategy. Where do you start? What do you start with? What countries? Things like that. If you even need this. And it only happens after the strategy advisor understands what it is they're trying to do. And the common thread that we found in comments and reviews from our clients was that they felt that the people they spoke to actually listened, right? They weren't there to just sell a cookie cutter solution. They weren't there to overwhelm them with their brilliance. They were just there to understand why they came to that call, and that made them want to go with us.
Wow.
Right? That, and of course the guarantees, but you can't do that without being able to listen.
So along that line, the people in your organization, do they have to deal with messiness at all? What kind of messy issues do they have to deal with, if any?
The mess?
Messy stuff, where maybe they get sideways with the client, maybe they get sideways with people in the organization, maybe they get sideways with people outside the organization. Did that ever happen to you?
Well, I mean, look, it's the business like a family, right? There's always something, somebody.
It's got to end up on your lap eventually, right?
So there's minor stuff, obviously it happens, and but we've got, I think, a good way of dealing with that, because I think a lot of it goes to how we hire people, who we get on the team, and like there's really no politics, there's no drama, and probably drama is going to get you fired so quickly you won't even you see the reaction to it. But nobody does this here, and which is great, because it's everyone feels at home, and it's a virtual company, right? There's no office per se. Everyone's working from where they are. We got people in the US, we got people in Canada, we got people in Mexico, we got people in the Philippines, we got people in Thailand, like everywhere really.
Wow.
They're all super happy to be part of this, because they feel that they can do something meaningful, without all the downsides of traditional work environment. So, does messy stuff happen once in a while? Sometimes software stops working, sometimes the client says something, silly. Yeah, we find a way to deal with that, right? We don't blame others, we find solutions, right? I think it's a long way to, sorry, took me a while to get to the real answer. The real answer is that we see our role as solving problems, right? Not finding reasons for the problems, which is actually another big lesson I learned from the acting class. So, you know, when you do a scene, they taught us, don't ask the question, why are you doing this, right? Or why is that person doing this? Ask what for, because why goes to the past. It doesn't really help you with anything. What for is what matters. Like, why did he, you know, stand up from the chair and go to the other, you know, to the wall or to the door to say something, right? Doesn't matter why. The real question is what for. That's what for you can act. And so that's really what we've been doing with the company, really on all levels, whether you are a strategy advisor, whether you're legal team, whether you're developer, like it doesn't matter, you know, how the problem was caused. Let's figure out a way to solve it and make sure it never happens again.
Wow. So I would say that the lack of drama in your company is a huge testament to your leadership, because I find that when people are facing a lot of drama and messiness in their companies, oftentimes the leadership is not as strong as it should be. So good for you. One last question. What's the one thing that we wouldn't know about you personally, unless you revealed it to us?
Well, it depends how deep you would dig.
You answer any way you want.
Okay. One thing you wouldn't know. So, okay, it's somewhat known, but not. Okay, I'll say it. So we've published over 900 videos on YouTube.
Wow.
And they're, you know, free educational videos, mostly about trademarks. And there's a whole playlist of FAQ videos. So in the beginning of each FAQ video, there's a jingle, and I singing it. So I love music, right? You can see this. This is a symbol here. So I built a unique desk that combines a fully functional office desk and a fully functional drum kit.
I've got my violin right over here. Let's play.
Right. So I can, let's see, I got the sticks,
Yeah.
right, I got everything, right? And I write music, I play music. And one of the things I thought would be fun enough to do was when I wrote that jingle, I took a little part of the song that I wrote several years ago, and it was kind of a coda moment from there. And I added get it trademarked with Trademark Factory, right? And I've had so much fun doing that, so I added as the jingle for the FAQ video. So I've never told that story. I had a few people who guessed correctly, but it's the first time I'm actually publicly telling that. So there you go.
Well, that's exactly. Well, Andrei, thank you so much. I know the 30 minutes just flew by, but I really appreciate your time today. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Doug.